Yo, what's going on, world? What's going on, Facebook? Everybody catching us live on Listen Vision. It's your boy, Jay DeCosta.
It's your girl, Katniss.
And the one and only Tay Jory can't be here. But together we are the Nitty Gritty. We got no stranger to most of you. We got Mr. Stephen Powell on the show today with us.
What's cracking?
Kicking it with the Nitty Gritty.
Absolutely good.
Happy to have you, sir.
As always, thank you, humble, thank you.
Yeah, like Steve's like a regular here. He's like extended family. I think between him and Rob, they just extended family of the Nitty Gritty now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's all that is. They just extended host. So good to have Steve on. Got a great show lined up for you guys. I say that every time we come on, but I really mean it every time I say it, though. I do. So we're talking about social media. Is it harmful? Is it helpful? You know, some of the different things that we deal with in social media. It's interesting how it affects our community, how we communicate now, how we discuss the things that bother us, how we disseminate information. So we're going to delve into that topic, and I think we got an interesting conversation going up for you guys today. Of course, you know, we always got to give out these to hell withs and these blessings too. Today I only have one to hell with, believe it or not. But it's for Roy Moore. And if you guys don't know who Roy Moore is, he is the guy running for Senate right now, running for Senate out there in Alabama. He's the guy that continued to enforce the Alabama's ban on gay marriage despite it being deemed unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. He has a known history of sexual proclivities with underage girls, has strong anti-Muslim and anti-gay views, was a strong part of the birther movement. Of course, that was the movement saying that Obama wasn't a U.S. citizen, has many ties to the white nationalist groups and neo-Nazi Confederates. The election, keep in mind, Alabama, the election is Tuesday, December 12th. So I think you guys should be voting Doug Jones, not just because he's a Democrat, but we look at the different things he stands for, the different policies he's put in place in his time there in Alabama. I think he's definitely a voice that has us more so in mind. When you look at the different things that the Senate is trying to pass when it comes to taxes and who that affects. Think about who it affects. I know Roy Moore has been at a bunch of Pentecostal and apostolic churches getting prayed on, and I know Trump did the same thing, but Trump still bragged about touching women on their woo-ha. So, I mean, that all that prayer didn't do nothing for him. He's still being a jerk in office. He still has no decorum while in office, and he's really a shame to all the United States. So you guys keep that in mind before y'all vote for someone just because they're allowing somebody to slap their hand on their head. All politicians go to church around election year. That's what they do. But then you don't see them for 4 years, and they don't take care of none of the needs of the church. So that's my rant. Something for y'all to think about. Got to give these blessings as well. Definitely blessings to the Scott family on getting some justice for the murder of Walter Scott. Many of you may know that Michael Slager was sentenced to 20 years in prison. But I will say it's kind of sad, though, that it took almost a perfect set of circumstances to convict him for second-degree murder. I mean, it literally took someone like being right there just in time to catch it. I mean, they caught him trying to plant the weapon. I mean, when you watch the video, I remember the first time I watched it, it almost looks fake. It's like, is this part of a movie or something? Because there's no way someone is catching this man doing all of that. So, you know, a lot of people feel like it's going to be a turn of justice, and I hope it is. But just keep in mind, folks, this was almost a perfect set of circumstances to convict Slager. And shout out to the mom for forgiving him. And I'm not saying she should forget or we should forget when we forgive, but it lifts the burden of hate off your heart, you know? And they have to live with that because, trust me, he's going to get a whole lot of hate where he's going, and it ain't going to be fun for him. Shout out to all the men of Alpha Phi Alpha. December 4th was Founders Day. 111 years of manly deeds. Got really cold outside that day. I saw Kappas out there shimmying, talking about J5. They have a good reaction to the cold, so that was kind of funny. And then, of course, December 4th was also Jay-Z's birthday. So, you know, blessings to all those. All right. Anyways, we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty.
Let's do it.
And I got a great video for you guys that we found on social media. There's an artist, he does like a bunch of these videos that's talking about different states of our community and all that. So I really like this one. So we're going to drop that, and then we're going to get down to the nitty gritty. Jay, can you play that video for me, sir? So we're back, and I really love that video. Steve Cuts. He's the same guy that did the animation for Jay-Z's Story of OJ. For anybody who's seen that video, amazing video, and he's an amazing artist. And I feel like he breaks so many different things down about how this social media world is. And Kat, I'm happy that this is a conversation. This is kind of like your brainchild, this conversation. And so I'm happy that we're having it here on the Nitty Gritty because it is important. And I want to go through some of the cons. And I guess the first one I want to go with, something that we see a lot on social media, because people are like, they live their life in comparison. Because people always put their best face forward. They always put how they're losing weight, who's getting married and all that kind of stuff. And people start comparing their own accomplishments to others. So I guess what are some of the things that you've seen when it comes to that, making comparisons? We can start, either one of you, jump up in there.
I definitely think women, I'll start speaking from the women's perspective. Maybe you can speak from the men's perspective. I don't know. But I know women do make a lot of comparisons, especially this age group, like turning 30 or close to 30. It's like, oh, I'm not married yet. So-and-so was married. Look at her engagement pictures. And it's like, me and my friends all have rings, and this was our life goal. And I don't know why society puts so much pressure on women to be married, but I think marriage is a beautiful thing, but I don't feel like you need to compare your lifestyle or your timeline to other people. What God has for you is for you. And your timeline, whether you get married at 29, 35, or 30, or 40, that's going to be in God's time and will. And I just feel like as women, that should not be your goal. Should not be, the ultimate goal should not be marriage. It should be living your best life. You know what I'm saying? Making peace with yourself, being the best version of yourself. Those are things I feel like you should hold dear to your heart, as opposed to having somebody right next to you, because we live for the ring and the wedding, but people don't really prepare for the actual marriage. Yeah,
that's why half of those folks that got married already divorced.
Yeah, good point. So as a male, I was a really early adopter for Instagram. Like, I was on Instagram at the beginning, and I remember sometimes like I would put up a picture, and like I would average like 60, 70 likes. That's when 60, 70 likes meant something. Doesn't mean anything now. And then just talking about me, if I put up a picture down and got 35 or 40 likes, I'd be like, man, there must be something wrong with what I put up there. Like, I would feel a certain type of way because I've been used to getting this certain level of attention from people who I didn't even know. And so there is definitely something to be said about what social media does to one's own insecurities and how they view themselves. And it's definitely something that I dealt with, in my late 20s when Instagram first came out, and Facebook got a bit more popular as it related to posting photos and things like that. So, I mean, it's a real thing. It's definitely a real thing.
I want to admit too, along with Steven, that I actually suffer from that too. Like as a woman, it's like you put up a pic, you get your little 30 likes, you're like, oh, I must not be cute today, or I must not be popular today, or people don't like me. But then you finally get to over 100, you feeling like you validated, like, oh, I'm out here popping or whatever. But it's really ridiculous. At the end of the day, the people who like or don't like don't call you. They don't know what your personal life is like. And at the end of the day, it's just a picture. And like you said, it's your best foot forward. They don't know what you went through that week prior to that picture.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't share those down points, right? You just only see the highlights. And I think that's the danger of, looking at, making those comparisons and seeing everybody else shining. Like, you'll see the person post a picture with a car, but the car ain't really theirs. Or you don't realize that they starving trying to be in that Mercedes or that BMW. So it's like, they getting all the pics for the gram, but then it's like they struggling to get that, right? Or you'll see people like they move to a big city or whatever, and it seems like they balling and doing it because they only show you the highlights. They only show you when they going out. They only show you when it's all good, but they don't show you cramped up in the subway, or they don't. Or sometimes like people are doing really well, but then you don't see the journey. It just seems like it happened overnight. So then people think they need to like do X, Y, Z overnight, but you don't realize that dude was grinding in the gym for 3 years before he got that 8-pack. Or old girl might be getting butt injections. They be looking all good on those videos. I mean, you never know what's going on. I think sometimes we're so interested in what people are putting in our face, we don't care about like what's the fabric of really what's going on. And you guys touched on another thing, and I guess we'll jump to that, is the need for validation from peers. It's a sad one. Like, I see people post, and they'll literally stay on their phone for hours waiting to see who's going to comment or a like. That's crazy that we live in that kind of society now.
Why do you think social media has become the place where people need validation from this world? Why? Like, how did it become that way?
I don't know, Steven, you want to jump in on that one?
Because you can touch a lot more people without actually having to leave your house. I mean, you know, we can talk about the negative aspects, but social media has opened up a new way to brand yourself. You know, like Juan was saying, you may have that fitness guru or that Instagram model, and they're able to make money doing that. So there's a dichotomy with social media that, yes, it has those parts of it where it makes some people feel inferior based on how they look or how they dress or what they have, but then there's another part of it that allows people to make money and earn a pretty substantial living. So it allows you to access the world, just like the advent of the internet, but at a much faster rate without even leaving your house. So instead of going out in the freshest outfit you have, like you used to have to, you used to have to go out for people to see what you had on, you can just take a picture and use the appropriate hashtags, and over 200, 300 people can see it within a couple of hours. And I think that's what's done it. It's just instant access. It's instant visibility. It's that microwave feeling of having someone look at it as soon as you take that photo and address it either with a like and or a comment.
And instant gratification. I think from that vantage point, social media is beneficial because, like you said, it allows you to become an instant celebrity overnight. But at the same time, I think social media can be detrimental because people who don't get the likes, who don't get the validation, or people who are being bullied, people are depressed by this stuff. You got people who will argue back and forth on Facebook, or if they don't like what you're doing or they don't like you personally, they'll attack you on your Instagram, and you got to disable the comments. I don't know if you guys heard, but Chrisette Michele went through a very tumultuous, depression state when she decided to sing for Trump. And then, I was reading and she had a miscarriage, and then she was saying she didn't like herself and she went through a state of depression because people were like, we disown you from the black community. And it's just like, is social media worth all of that? I don't know.
I think the thing too is that I think social media nowadays seems to magnify things. And that could be, as Steve stated earlier, that could be good, right? If you're trying to push out a brand. I mean, obviously the Nitty Gritty uses it. We're on all formats, pushing our show. And we work hard to put out a positive message. But then at the same time, people with low self-esteem, people with issues of their own, those are now magnified on social media. Like, you have people that troll all day online. Yes. Like, they say anything on Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat just to get a rise out of people. And you have to sometimes wonder what's going on in the inside that you feel the need to do that.
Yeah.
It's like the person, I mean, we've seen it all the time. Like, we've seen it back in school and all that, but there wasn't a social media to push that, and these were the bullies in school. Now they have a whole world they can just go at all the time because they have like nothing else better to do sometimes.
And from my personal experience, if somebody trolls on my social media, I don't even engage anymore. Before I used to. Now that I'm getting older and wiser, you just delete, block, follow without any kind of explanation. And if you in my inbox, like, why you delete me, I won't even respond because I felt like it. Self-care is important. And if I feel like you are bringing negative energy, I just won't respond. You'll be deleted and blocked. Having a great day. The end.
And that's important for young people too.
Yeah, and going back to the bullying aspect, now you're giving people a way to bully without they don't even have to see you. They don't have to step to you and say what you want to say. So it gives people an opportunity to say what they want, when they want, how they want it, without any chance of any type of physical repercussion or altercation. Because they don't have to stand in front of you and say all the things they said to you under your post or on the internet. They can just do it from their computer and, go about their day.
Would Drake say trigger fingers?
And then the sad part is too, like, one thing about bullying on social media now, there's no containment for it, right?
Yeah.
It used to be if you was lame in high school, i.e. me, right? If you was lame in high school, only people at your high school knew that you was lame, but it didn't really necessarily spread to everywhere. But now, you get into a fight or, you lame at prom or whatever. Like, people, like, just like the video we played, people are filming the whole thing. Something tragic can happen to you, and instead of someone worried about, oh my God, that person fell in a horrible way doing a routine, did they break their neck? It's just filming it, like, let's laugh. Like, all these people watching, no one lends a hand. And there's no containment now for bullying. The other thing too is it lasts longer. It used to be if something happened, you were whacked for a week at school, people got over it by the next week. But now it can go viral. And then that's when you think about what kids are now coming up in, it's a whole nother world. Like, these kids get into a fight and now it used to just be the kids at your school knew about it. Maybe if he was really popular, maybe a couple of schools next door. But now you could be somebody in New York and kids in California are talking about what you did at your school. It's crazy.
But adults are the culprit for this, in my opinion. Adults perpetuate being a bully or, trolling or popularity. You know what I'm saying? How many adults do you know purposely, I'm not going to like or I'm not going to associate with this person because they don't make status quo a lot of money or whatever? I feel like it starts at home and it starts with adults being the example. I don't know why I thought, silly me, that by age 30, people wouldn't be caring about popularity or not popularity.
Oh, no.
That's just not, I realize that's just not the case. People do care about stuff like that. And when kids see people older than them act that way, then what do you expect them to do? Yeah. They going to troll too.
And then, Steve, and this, I think this is a good one to start out with you, trying to date in DC or anything like that. Communication skills. I feel like conversations have gone down the drain these days.
Long gone are the days where you see somebody in public that you think is attractive and you approach them and you try to introduce yourself and you try to get to know them and ask the pertinent questions. You don't have to do that anymore. I mean, social media is literally a menu of people that you're interested in, whether it be the opposite sex or the same sex. You can literally just go down the line and say, okay, I like this about this particular young woman. Now I can go into her inbox and send her a direct message. There's Tinder, right? That's a social media aspect. So the communication skills that used to be necessary in order to date are no longer required at the initial meeting. Now, once you get in a relationship with somebody, you figure out if they can't talk, but you don't have to do that now. If you're witty through text or message or Twitter, you can get anybody you want. Anybody you want. It's literally a menu as a man, literally a menu of women too, but more so for men that they can choose from without having to put forth any effort at all.
And I think most people specialize now in limiting conversation to 140 characters or less. I mean, and that started with texting, but now it's even worse. Like you said, you bring up like Tinder. The fact that, you would just swipe to find out who you like, or you click a button or you double tap. I mean, that's the only engagement you get. And then,
that's all you need.
Yeah, like I remember one time I was working with one of my coworkers down in DC. It was my business apprentice. Shout out Kyra. And I seen a girl taking a selfie. And she was cute. So I said, yeah, you looking good. Because she's taking a selfie. She did a whole smile. Right? Took a selfie. I said, hey, you look cute today. And then she looked at me really weird. Like, you're not supposed to say that in public. You're supposed to go find me on social media and like it. But it's like,
Exactly.
But that's how crazy it is. It's like people don't know how to like live in the real world. It's like you have to do it online or it don't count.
It's funny that you mentioned that, right? Because I was at this one event. I think it was a couple weeks ago, and I was with one of my peoples or whatever, and he started talking to this young lady, and they seemed to have a good rapport or whatever, and he didn't ask for her number. What he did, he sent her a message on Instagram like, "You look really good tonight. Can I get your number?" But he was in her face for like an hour. Like he
and
took
never
the time,
asked for the number.
Yeah, he took the time to literally spend all this time with this woman and then say, you know what? Let me go ahead and send her a message on Instagram so I can show how really interested I am. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing.
It goes down in the DMs.
You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to be nice and try to court in person. What do you mean? You got to do that over the internet. That's a good point that you brought up. Yeah. So I mean that's just where we are right now. Like dating is the internet. Internet is dating. You know.
And guys fall for it every single time. And let me tell you how I know. Because I got homegirls, right? We'll be at the house. I have friends who will literally do a cute shirt, face beat, bomb selfie. Be like, all right, let's go to Target. Put sweats on, take off the makeup, go to Target. Promise you, people be like, didn't I just see you on Instagram like 10 minutes ago looking real beat? And my friend be like, we got to get out of here because, I don't want people to see me looking like this.
You don't want that real life to come out. You don't want that real life to come out.
Listen, and these filters have gotten real advanced. I ain't even gonna lie. Like there are times I'll have on zero makeup. I can go on Snapchat, face all the way beat, just from the filter.
And the sad part how it really hurts relationships, especially in our community, is because we're so focused on pictures and just very surface level communication, right? It starts affecting our relationships because you only see somebody who their online persona is. And so you have rappers and basketball players and football players going broke over Instagram chicks because they like just a picture. And that picture is only like a small shell of who they are. And then there's so much witchery that goes into these selfies. You know, then when you see the person, it's like, where's the substance at? There's no conversation. You can mention things. I feel like, you know, if I start saying out key names and you don't know who I'm talking about, that's an issue. You know, like, you know, you got some people don't know who who Huey Newton is. You know what I'm saying? They just be like clueless, like, man, like, I don't know what you're talking about. Or you could just talk about something simple, like I can mention Roy Moore in a conversation and people will be clueless. Like, how you don't know what's going on in society, but they know every person on the cast of Atlanta Housewives.
Well, I think it's important that you said that because I do think people look at social media and they want the status quo. For example, when Keisha and Gucci Mane had this big extravagant wedding, I heard girls all over like relationship goals. I want my ring to be millions of dollars. I want my wedding to be millions of dollars. And it's like, people get so caught up in what they see on social media that is dumb. I'm sorry, spending that much money for a wedding is not really smart. And they are celebrities and you are not. And like you said, you need to focus on communication. You need to focus on trust. You talk about I'm the main chick. That being the main chick or being a side chick should not be your aspiration. You should want to be a wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are just a lot of things I feel like social media does where we don't really focus on the foundation of just the things that you need in order to make it in life, the things that you need in order to have meaningful relationships. That's why so many friendships are ups and down, ups and down. You see these housewives, one season they're friends, the next season they're not, because they don't have the skill set to really maintain these things, like, you know, love, compassion. It's all about status quo.
Yeah, and bringing it back to social media as a whole, like it presents this facade of relationships. It presents this facade of how you're supposed to be as a man or as a woman, how much money you're supposed to have, what you're supposed to spend your money on. Like, I don't know if you guys saw She's Gotta Have It.
Oh, yeah, that junk is amazing,
so
man.
They got a character in that show. Her name is Shemeka, and she goes through the process of getting butt injections in a hotel room. That's a direct reflection of what she saw out there that she thought she needed to be in order to make more money at her job. She felt she had to get those injections in order to be prettier, in order to be more beautiful, in order to be more, more desirable at her place of work, and maybe even in her personal life too. And we all, when you look at social media, we all go through that. You may see a woman as a woman and say, man, her body is nice. You know what I mean? Let me find somebody to do this for me. And these procedures are really cheap to the pocket, but they're taxing and very expensive to your body and to your soul, and nobody ever talks about that.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, and you know what? And then men are already visual creatures. I mean, they were doing that back in the 60s and the 70s. But now I think it's even also magnified because people rely so much on looks because that's what social media is typically promoting, is just the looks. And I think it's just dangerous. People get into these relationships and they know nothing about each other. There's no build or substance. You know, it's just, I thought you looked good. I liked your picture. I liked this outer being of who you are, and I saw myself next to you in these pictures, but I didn't see myself next to you when you were crying or hurting. I didn't see myself next to you when it's time to grind, because that's not the picture we ever see. We only see the picture of success, and I think it's dangerous. And you know what? And also with relationships, I think that hurts our communities. Not just relationships, as people's personal lives. I think we overshare on social media. I mean, skip just the day by day. I've seen people post about their marital problems. They post about things that, I mean, it's one thing to kind of like testify, but I think there is still a time and place for that, because I think that should still be done around people who understand your story or even want to hear your story. But people post so much, and it's like, we shouldn't be knowing all that about your marriage. Maybe you just need to go talk to, maybe just need to talk to a therapist, or maybe just talk to your man or talk to your woman. You don't need to be telling social media every time you have a fight. Yeah. That ain't our business. Because then you get all of our opinions.
Yes.
And that's the other part of social media. So I just want to play devil's advocate. So you have somebody that either shows a testimony via video or a long post or whatever the case may be. And, you know, in my mind, too, I'm like, man, you know, you keep that off, you know, deal with that at home with everything like that. Talk to your friends and family. But what we fail to realize is that a lot of people don't have people in their real life to talk to. Because we are in such a social media age, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter has become a therapist for a lot of people, whether the opinions be good, bad, or indifferent. Social media sometimes, for some of us, that is our life. Those are our friends, even though we don't know any of those people, because we don't have anyone in our real lives to talk us off the proverbial ledge or to help us when we're down. We go to social media because we're looking to somebody to comment under our post, hey, is it going to be okay? Or, hey, if you need to, send me a message, we can talk about it. That's sad, but that's just where we are. I was talking to somebody the other day, and, you know, they were telling me, you know, they have such a a plethora of people in their life that they can talk to and friends and family, and that's great. But you know what? A lot of people don't have that.
That's true.
And unfortunately, they use social media as that outlet. It's not right, but it is what it is.
But we do have to change that, though. People need to understand that social media is not the real world. It's a tool that we use for those of us that live in the real world will use. Like, for instance, like, I get it that there's a lot of great things we can do in social media. There's a lot of great things we can promote. There's a great way to push our information, but it won't take the place of activism. I say this all the time on the show. Like, if you really want to get out into the world and change something in the community, you have to be in the community, not Snapchatting about it, not tweeting about it. You actually have like boots on ground, and you actually have to be there. You have to touch the people. I'm so glad that, Jesus didn't exist in the social media age, because the message would have never got out. You know what I'm saying? Because he wanted to touch the people. People like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, like, you just have to wonder, like, where would their message be in a social media age? Because it's like, you're here today, gone tomorrow. People don't have a chance to sit down and let things resonate in their minds anymore. And I think that social media is just like, unfortunately, it is, as you were saying, it's the real world for a lot of people, but we have to change that. We need to literally pull people out the matrix, because like they're stuck in this false reality, but life is still happening in the real.
And people think because I post about it, I'm doing something.
Yeah.
That's not enough, because you post about it today, and like you said, we forget about it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think as technology continues to advance, unfortunately, the social media pull or the internet pull is only going to get stronger. So we can always, so talking about, the real world and everything like that, it's hard to tell that to a 14-year-old who grew up, their entire life is in the social media age. And Kat made a point earlier about it starting in the home. It does.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's a certain level of values that have to be instilled in people before they leave the house, because when these kids, when they get of age and they leave the house, now you're competing with the world. If you haven't done your due diligence at home, it's going to be very difficult to compete with the world. Mm-hmm. They talk about it in church all the time, and the conversations increase. It's going to be very difficult to compete with the world of social media, of bullying, of peer pressure, of all of it. It's very difficult because it's always in their face. It's constant and it's always changing. So, Kat made a good point about it starting in the home first.
And then, like another one that we don't really talk about, and I think sometimes we're biased because, you hear Trump saying fake news. But believe it or not, there is an issue with fake news or misinformation. And social media has been very guilty of that, I think. And it's two-part, right? One is because anybody has access. And this is actually something that Congress has been questioning companies like Facebook and people who control stuff like Snapchat. One thing that they're bringing up to the heads of these companies are, what are you? Because they all started off as tech companies, but they're not that anymore. Really, Facebook really is a media company. Mm-hmm. And, they're pushing so much stuff out. We've seen like how they contributed in the elections when it came to Trump, like how certain things were like even with our show, when I want a boost post on one of our episodes, I can actually choose what markets I do it in. I could choose by state even, right? Or even by city. And there were certain things that are ran in the South or the Bible Belt that they know people are more partial to, that they know they can't run up here. Like Roy Moore getting prayed on and they throwing anointing oil over his head while he touching on little girls. Even if you're a Christian, it don't matter what your background is. It don't play well in New York or D.C. We gonna still be like, but you're a pedophile, B. Like, you still not getting elected. But in the South, for certain folks where that's the culture, it plays really well. And we have to be careful about how social media is kind of dangerous in the fact that in the wrong hands, some people have taken advantage of that. And they're doing wrong things with it. Also, on our half, we're being kind of lazy. We'll take a 2-minute post instead of doing maybe 2 hours of research and learn something for ourselves.
That's true.
And we need to do something about that.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kat.
It just goes back to what we were saying earlier. I mean, it's about the value system. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Taking 2 hours to learn for myself and read for myself probably takes more time. I mean, how people are actually reading books nowadays? You know what I'm saying? It's not the end thing to do. If I can just find an article with some snippets on it, then that probably would serve better for me than to do my own research.
And the sad part, though, these people will watch like a 1-hour YouTube video and they think they're an expert on Kemet or Egypt. You know what I'm saying? Or all the cultures that came out. You got people running around talking about, yo, what's up, king? What's up, queen? I'm sorry, not everybody in Africa was a king or a queen. A lot of them were tribal civilizations.
Let's talk about it. A lot of us didn't come from.
And if you have friends in Nigeria, if you have friends out there in the Benin coast, they'll tell you, like, we didn't have kingdoms. We were more or less nations, or a nation of tribes. Like, it was only the eastern part of the continent that like operated in kingdoms. But because we only have a piece of information, everybody running around talking about, I'm looking for my king or my queen. Like, you might have been a chief, or sometimes you might have just been a good follower, and you just need to stay in your lane.
You may have been a Mandinka warrior.
Shoot, not even okay. That. Half these brothers think they doing that, and they ain't doing that right. So, you know, I'm just saying, like, I just think, like, it's just time for us to get back to those basics. Like, I get it. It's convenient, it's fast, but it would never take the place of the things we could really do for ourselves. Like, I could watch a bunch of videos on how to farm, but at the end of the day, I'm about to get my hands dirty and plant something.
I have a question for you guys. When you said getting back to the roots, what do you think changed? Because I feel like back in the 60s, people were hungry for information. They would sit in the library for hours and read about laws because they wanted justice for black people. And I feel like, what do you think happened? Whereas we're not as hungry, like we're not willing to march for hours in our Stacey Adams dress shoes on Capitol Hill for, voting. What happened?
I think because more of us as a whole are more successful than a lot of us were in the 60s. So there's a view out there that because we have, a lot of black people that may be rich or wealthy, we don't have as much work to do as we did back in the 60s and the 50s and even the 70s. So, there are a lot of black people that are rich, whether it be in entertainment, media, or the business world. So I think we look at that microcosm of success and look at it, well, it may not be that bad if so many of us are able to live this great life. I think that has a lot to do with it too. It's just, success. A lot of us are achieving success at a faster rate, partly due to social media. So some of us may feel as if it's not that bad.
Or there's no work left to be done.
Correct.
Because we had a black president.
Yeah, and there are some that always feel like, we get a little bit and they feel like we arrive. Like a lot of people feel like, yeah, we got a black president, or we have a couple of people playing in the NFL, so we arrived, or we pretty much run the NBA, so we arrived, but it's not enough. I mean, we've seen that with the murders of unarmed black men, that we have a lot of way to go. We've seen it with the treatment of women, period. Not just, we know black women get treated like crap, but I mean, we can honestly see that all women are going through a lot. I mean, shout out to the metoo campaign for becoming the persons of the year, putting that out. And shout out to Reverend Wally for preaching an amazing message at Reed Temple this today about that. And I think the sad part is that social media has us in a place where we're following trends and celebrities too hard. So it's like, it'll get some attention, but as we kind of stated earlier, we'll leave it. For instance, we talked about using the nigger, the N-word on the show. But it got major push when someone famous talked about what they said, and that video went viral. And that's not us hating, because we actually reposted it on the Nitty Gritty page because it was a great explanation of it, of why we feel like whites shouldn't use the word. But I think sometimes we get away from just the base conversation of learning each other because we're so caught up. And we even want to know too much about celebrities. Like, why should we want to watch the birth of Kim Kardashian's children? Yeah, I don't want to see that.
I don't want to see that either. But you're right. I think it's funny because if a celebrity talks about the same subject that we're talking about, people are more prone to like, share, follow it, and be like, "Oh my God, what Kanye said was so real, was so dope." But then if Steven, who I follow on social media, says the same exact thing with actually more knowledge, and you could tell more time taken to actually understand what he's talking about, I feel like, well, I'm not gonna like Steven because he's just talking. I'm gonna just skip past it. Why are we more prone to support people who we don't know, but we don't support the people who are around us, who are really trying to do something for the greater good of the community, who we can see, touch, and actually help promote their platform? I don't understand. I just don't get it.
Wealth and fame certifies us. So it's because of the wealth and the fame that would make Sean's message seem a lot more potent coming from someone else who's a lot more famous, who has a lot more money than Sean. So we look at somebody being wealthy and famous, or just being famous. A lot of the people, believe it or not, on Instagram that are Instagram famous, that don't rap or don't sing, they struggle just like all of us. Like they're not they're not rich. I mean, they're trying to get there just like all of us. But because they're famous, you know, if us three right now, we were to go on our respective Instagram pages and say, you know, sexual abuse, sexual misconduct is wrong, 100% wrong. But a porn star would say the exact same thing with 300, 400,000 followers. Then other people are like, you know what? These three guys, I don't know. But this one right here, she's making a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's wealth and fame. And it's not, that's just where we are. It's a stat. To your point, we've all talked about it. It's a status thing. When you have status, your message is able to permeate a lot further than if you don't. And that goes back to, we had this conversation before about the messenger being more important than the message when it shouldn't be. But that's just what it is.
Okay, I'm glad we're going down this route then. This is a Black conscious show. So if that be the case, how come we don't hold our celebrities and our athletes more accountable? We always say, oh, well, they're doing their craft. They just a ball player, whatever. If we know that the status quo has more, they have the power to change or to affect the masses, why don't we hold them accountable? I'm sorry, but going back to me talking about Future, talking about Percocets and talking and rapping about drugs and kids really trying it, how come nobody has ever called him out on it?
Well, I think we do a good job at calling out folks on. I mean, I think in our community, I think we're definitely more conscious of that than other communities. I think where I've had a problem on the show, and I still kind of stand there, is while I definitely think we should call out negative messages, I feel like as parents, we still need to do our onus and make sure that certain entertainment doesn't come to our children. And at the same time, I'm not going to jump down their throat to a certain level when I know that you got the white boys out there saying the same stuff in their music.
It's true.
I'm going to call it all out. Like, I'm going to call out Marilyn Manson.
Right.
I'm going to call out Metallica and Future at the same time. I'm not going to be like, I think I have the issue where Black folks in our community, we only call out our people when they're doing wrong, but we act like, you know, XYZ right here is not doing it. I think there sends like a double message.
I don't think that, well, I'll speak for me. I don't think that I act like, I think there are people who are doing it wrong, but we just said, and we can confirm, and I'm sure there's research to say that me as a parent, if I tell Johnny, don't do this, Johnny may listen, but due to peer pressure in music, if LeBron James says don't do this, Johnny may actually take the message for what it's worth. So what I'm saying is, if we know that, especially in our community, that we hold our celebrities high in regarding athletes, you know, one thing I love about LeBron is that LeBron is a great, like, to me, he's a good role model. Like, he does what's necessary to be a family guy. You know, he's building a school in Akron for impoverished kids. Not every celebrity is going to aspire to be that. I get it. But if we know that celebrities have the power to impact our kids to a point more so than parents, I mean, we should hold them accountable.
LeBron James can't pull that belt out, though. I can.
Right, Juan. But how many parents have said, I did everything possible to make sure that my kid went the right way, and for whatever reason they went the wrong way? I mean, of course, it's personal choice.
Herman's and Mamie's belt worked, though.
Right. Of course, it's personal choice. But what I am saying is that think about the 80s when A Different World came out, and like that message about going to school was cool. You see what it did. It was like an influx of people going to HBCUs. Like, we got to start thinking about how we can bring out positive messaging that are cool on a mass level, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I think they made positivity cool. Positivity is cool right now. I mean, you've seen that with the 444 album. I mean, Jay-Z has evolved, and you see a lot of celebrities trying to still put, because that's what's happening right now. Like, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to live in a bubble. I mean, even Kevin Hart at some points have to change up his comedy and get more serious, because he's done everything in his power to stay away from big issues. But you just can't do that when you got Chris Rock and you got Dave Chappelle out there speaking on it and then doing something about it. Like, and I think, you know, it kind of goes, just to kind of sum this up, I think what it is one of the 48 laws of power, if you read Robert E. Greene, any of his books, is garner attention at all costs. But I think now the cost is way too high for most celebrities, to the point that they're held to a standard that they can't attain. But that's because you're in so many parts of their life. It's not like the days like Michael Jackson and Prince. Like, yeah, you seen them, they were wild as stage, but there was always a mystery of their personal lives.
That's
like
true.
Celebrities back in the 80s and 90s, it was a mystery. So when they had a positive message, i.e. Bill Cosby, it resonated. But, you know, we weren't able to dig into the fact that he drugging chicks on the side, or possibly or allegedly, whatever the case. And I think now is just that there's so much overexposure, and now they're doing so much to stay in the limelight. Like the Instagram is flooded. You got people like Tyrese acting a fool on social media just to stay relevant. It used to be just put out some work, put out a project, and you'll stay in the limelight. Now it's like you got to do that, and you got to couple it with a crazy Snapchat feed in order to be relevant. And I think that's where the line is crazy. I don't think we would even ask so much of our celebrities if they weren't over-posting, but now it's like we're so deep in their lives, it's like, well, what are you doing for the movement?
Yeah, going back to the Future thing, so there have been a few rappers that have called out Future, not Future specifically, but the overall general message about doing drugs, like Vic Mensa and stuff like that. But we also have to think about how powerful median music is and has been for black people over the entire existence of our race. Music is such a powerful influencer. And, now, back in the 90s, early 2000s, we were telling kids to sell drugs. Now we're telling them to do them. So the message of negative activity, that hasn't changed. It's just the type of negative activity that now we're telling them to do. And you brought up Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart is famous for doing interviews. Anytime someone asks him about race, he says, I don't want to get into that. I'm just this positive, free-flowing guy. I want to do this. Fuck that. You black.
Right.
Okay?
You can't run for it forever.
I get it. It may mess up your money. I understand all that. But to your point, Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle, Dave Chappelle got another Netflix special coming up, and he's able to be as honest and as forthcoming about the issues facing his people, not only black people, but America as a whole, and still make $40 million.
Right.
So I don't understand that, but I'm glad you brought that up, because I thought it was just me, because I see a lot of that. He wants to be, this emo positive person about not talking about, race, and he's from one of the worst cities in America in terms of crime and drugs.
Philadelphia.
So yeah.
That's because we dictate it. Sometimes we do things based upon the dollar. The dollar dictates what we do. So if they say, well, we really want to keep it soft, we don't really want to jump in there because that may be, a risk on the finance. We got to start telling these people, like, nah, I'm going to dig in there, because at the end of the day, my people are still getting, police brutality is still real. Trump is still grabbing people by the pussy and still in office. You know what I'm saying? These things are still real. So until these things resolve, then I'm going to use my platform to talk about it. And if you're uncomfortable with that, that's a self issue. Not necessarily, you know what I'm saying?
And what's funny about that? In my mind, right, I always tell myself, if I ever achieved a certain level of success in whatever I did, monetarily or otherwise, that I will always maintain that I'm black first, right? That would be at the forefront of any conversation that I had, any job that I did, any type of money that I turned down. But on the other hand, I think to myself, I hope I can do that, but I don't know if I got in that position.
That's real.
Right? If Juan if I was an actor or comedian and Juan was a distributor, a movie producer, and he says, Steve, we want you on this project, we think you do really well, here's $50 million for you, but you got to leave the race stuff alone, right? Now I can say, no, I'm not going to do that. But if there was an actual $50 million check in front of me, it might bring me some pause.
That's real. But that's real.
I'm just being honest. Like we always talk about how Dave Chappelle turned down, what was it, 50 at the time?
It was like 50 million.
And that was in 2003. So, the inflation and everything like that. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what I would do. I would think I would do the right thing, would be turning down the money and not compromising my values and myself, but I don't know. But so I don't, thinking about what Kevin Hart does, I still think it's wrong. But, we don't know what's going through his mind and the internal battles he may have within himself.
Do you think it is indicative based upon how far along in your career you are? Meaning, if Jay-Z were to be getting that offer way back when, you think he'd be more inclined to say, okay, cool, I won't talk about race. Whereas now he's comfortable, so he can afford to lose $50 million because he'll get another $50 million someplace else.
And see, that's the thing about Dave Chappelle. He's been consistent throughout his career. I don't think Dave Chappelle ever saw $50 million up until the point they offered him that 14 years ago.
And he never changed being him.
He's not right. So I think, to your point, Kat, I think for most of us, it depends on where we are in our career. But there's special people, and I keep calling out Dave Chappelle, who are going to be them regardless, because they know if they do this, this is going to, mess with them for the entirety of their career and maybe even their entire adult life.
True.
And if you look at your top comedians right now in Hollywood, these are people who have kept it real the whole time. You look at your Anthony Andersons, You look at your Deion Coles, he's written on many projects. You look at a lot of your crossover artists like Paul Mooney. You look at the obviously the Chris Rocks, the Dave Chappelles. These are people who have been crossover funny while being very pro-black. So they've set the standard or the example that you don't have to compromise to still be relevant. You could actually walk away from money, come back and still get it again without having to sell you in the process. I think what happens is we're blinded. Social media will blind you with the Little Yachties. They'll blind you with the Migos. They'll blind you with the Cardi B's. And they'll blind you with the Love and hip hop stars and think there's only one path, but there are various avenues to success in still maintaining you. And I think it's important that we push that out. And that's one thing. I mean, we talked about a lot of the cons, and we're running close to the end of the show. But, I mean, just tapping on some of the pros, there's a lot of great things we could do with social media. And I want to leave that message with our people. You have... It's a great way to keep it with friends and family, advertise, mass communicate. Steve, I guess, and we'll work our way down. I guess if, you had to think about some of the positives of social media, what it's done for your life or how you see it affecting the lives of others, what would some of those be, or how would you challenge people to use it better?
I mean, social media is advertising 101 in my opinion. I mean, it changes lives for the better. I mean, it will put some money in your pocket if you're consistent. It is an incredible medium to deliver content. I mean, especially like, a podcast or a show, you want to, if you're a YouTuber and you have a certain amount of followers on Instagram, you can post every day, go to my channel, I have a new video out. I'll give you a perfect example, Fetty Wap. I know he's not relevant in today's rap world today, but Trap Queen, he put that song on his Instagram page once a day for like 300 days straight. Oh. That's how he got on. That's literally, he put that song up for 300 days straight. He had literally like 860 followers. Then the video started to come out, and that's what happened. He was consistent. He put it up for 300 days straight, the same song every single day. So I've seen it happen. I mean, it can happen. Those are some positive examples of social media for sure.
Yeah. Kat?
I agree. Free marketing, free advertising, great way to keep up with family and friends. Great way to have, access to celebrities. You can DM them. Some people have gotten on just by DMing them, like you said, every single day. Yeah, they're like, all right, finally I'm going to get a kid a shot. He came and DM me, 300 times. So there is, if you use it correctly, it can take you to the next level where you want to go in your career. And
so that means Charlamagne, Angela Rye, Roland, because I know you still got pulled at TV1. TV1. Aspire, Oprah, we Nitty Gritty Show been DMing y'all for a minute now. We ain't gonna stop, won't stop, can't stop.
And one more thing about social media, I think this is true about life too. It just takes one person.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
You just need one win. You need just one person to notice it, and you off to the races. And that's a beautiful thing about social media. To your point, you can DM somebody 100 times, and all you need to see is that one SoundCloud link for them to hit that link and listen to your song, and you in there.
Right. Yeah, and it takes us one yes. And we'll say one more thing too. And for all the people who I didn't get enough likes, like he said, forget that. Find more people and find the people who gonna like it or who gonna share it, who gonna follow it. You know what I'm saying? You can't be caught up on the negativity or the people who aren't supporting you. That's what social media does. It allows you to have access to other people who will be interested.
When it comes to likes, I'll put one thing out there because I know my daughter watches this show and my son. When the show is appropriate, I'll allow him to watch those episodes. But I will say the only like that really matters is the like you see in the mirror. I think once you get.
Oh, Juan.
But I'm serious. But I'm serious. As long as you get that like every day, everything else is just extra. You know what I'm saying? But they shouldn't define you.
It doesn't define you. I'm just letting people know that you don't have to keep your circle so small, whereas if they don't like it, that dictates your validation. You can always go out and find new people, and God will allow it so that the people who do like it will be there. For example, people been hitting us up lately, we don't even know them, and they like our stuff.
Yeah, so it gets out there. You got to be confident in yourself. But look, this has been another great show. Steve, can you tell people where they can find you, sir?
Where can they find me? I got cut off. Yeah, Stephen Powell on Facebook, Stevie's World on Jose's World on Twitter, and Stevie Weavy on Instagram.
Yeah, you on Instagram now. That's tight.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm back on that thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah,
and Kat, tell them where they can find the Nitty Gritty Show.
You can find the Nitty Gritty Show at the Nitty Gritty Show on Facebook, IG, Instagram, and we are also on Twitter at TBJ_Nitty Gritty.
Yep, so you know where to find us. And don't forget, folks, anybody in the DMV area or shoot, I mean, you might be in Tennessee. You know, I got folks out there. I could come see you. We got Tay and Katniss from Cleveland, so we'll come out to you too, wherever. We're down to host events. We've been doing seminars with folks now. So, hey, if you want the Nitty Gritty to come kick it with you, have a talk, lead a conversation, be there for something, let us know. We down for that. And, of course, you know, keep the conversation going. That's why we have all this social media. Hit us up. We like to get our community engaged in these conversations. It's really important. But anyways, it's your boy, Jay DeCosta.
It's your girl, Katniss.
The one and only Tay Jordan can't be here, but we love you, boo. And together we are the Nitty Gritty. We out. Steve, thanks for coming on.
Anytime.
Y'all be blessed. It's the Nitty Gritty.